Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Coe Show. My name is Mason Coe. Here, as always, sitting across from me, my co-host Aaron Coe.
Howdy.
And today is Wednesday, November 4th, 2020. Obviously, some real big stuff going
What's
on.
going on?
Well, I can tell you what's going on. Evan White and J.P. Crawford won the Gold Glove Award.
We won the election?
Yeah!
Nice.
We won the election for the shortstop and first baseman Gold Glove Award.
Sweet, we won.
Yeah.
Our side won.
Our side
Awesome.
won. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep, and that was the news of yesterday. That's
Yeah.
pretty much all that
It's
happened.
good to see the teal teams come through.
Yeah. That's pretty much what happened yesterday. Not much
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, it's actually, I guess we'll just get right into it. It's really dope that we have two guys this young winning awards, especially when our team isn't that good.
Yeah.
And especially Evan White, but neither of them are like great hitters. So
No.
um,
And I think this has changed a little bit over the years, but to win a Gold Glove, you also have to hit.
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is because people pay more attention to players that hit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hit, nobody really cares about you.
So yeah.
Pitchers who win Gold Gloves are usually pretty good pitchers.
Right.
They're not bad, mediocre
No.
fifth starters that get shelled. They're usually pretty good pitchers. So to see Evan White win one with I think he had a 599 OPS, which is really bad if you don't know what that means.
On base plus slugging. You
Yeah.
add them.
I mean, you should be as a first baseman. I mean, you want to be 800 would be mediocre kind
Yeah.
of for a first baseman,
Mhm.
a hitting position. So for him to win it, I mean, it just shows a lot. I mean, he's had that reputation coming up through. I've studied the first base position a lot, and he really does make a difference in the games.
I mean, yeah, just this, stretch and pick, like that's the obvious things, when
Yeah.
you see him stretch out or dive for a ball.
Yeah,
But I mean, the other thing is he doesn't fuck up. Like he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's at first base it's like you can't be making mistakes. That's number one, and he secures it on top of making those great plays.
Yeah. So that's been really good to see. J.P. Crawford surprised me a little bit, just because he kind of, I'm not gonna say he came out of nowhere on that, but I hadn't heard a national reputation for him.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Even locally, I didn't hear people, with Evan White, all I ever heard was, well, but he saves runs, and that's all you ever. But Crawford, you didn't hear that as much. You heard, oh, he's playing well. He having a couple of spectacular highlight reel plays is another thing that can get you a Gold Glove or get you in that conversation. And then if you think about league wide, there just aren't a lot of big names at either one of those positions right now that are known for their great defense. It just I feel like maybe that's fallen off a little bit, or maybe I'm just not paying attention to baseball like I did the year before.
True,
but,
yeah. I haven't paid a ton of attention to baseball. I mean, really, honestly, since I stopped playing, weirdly enough. But
yeah,
I feel like there has been kind of a renaissance for the shortstop that can hit. And second baseman that can hit. So you got a lot more guys up the middle that are primarily great hitters, and then they can also hold their own, which is interesting. Usually you think of your guys up the middle as being, you want them to be great defenders and guys that can get on base for sure, but not guys you're going to have at the top of the order, not guys that you're going to expect to hit 15, 20 home runs a year. And I think that's happening a lot more now. So,
yeah, I mean, there was a time where you really didn't care too much about your shortstop's batting average or your catcher's batting average. You just wanted them to make plays. Your shortstop, sometimes you put him in the 9 spot or the 2 spot, and just they bunt a lot, move guys over. That part of the game has all but died. So you want hitters there. But it's funny though.
is seething right now about bunts going away. Have you ever heard him on the broadcast? Every time there's a runner on first, they should think about laying down a bunt here. Like they just no regard for the analytics game nowadays. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and I wish they would bring some of that back. I just think it makes the game more interesting. the analytics. I mean, I'm not gonna say that they're wrong, but I don't like watching strikeouts, and home runs, unless they're in big spots, aren't that interesting either.
Yeah.
When you hit a bunch of them and it's 7-5 with, like 8 solo home runs in there. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing happening. Like, the ball's either leaving the yard or it's in the catcher's glove, it seems like. So anyway, we've talked about that before. Excuse me. But, the outfielders have gotten, it's funny, the outfielders have gotten more athletic. I think you don't see, guys that we'll just stick him out in left field,
right,
and see, hope to get by. There's a lot more athleticism out there. And I think that's part of the reason you're seeing more emphasis on the launch angle, hitting the home runs, because it's harder to drop balls in than it was.
That's true.
Even 10 years ago.
There's a difference between having Lomo and, just a guy that can run fast. Like, even if he's not, a Malik Smith, even though he's going to miss the diving. He's going to miss the diving.
He'll get a glove on it.
He's going to miss the diving catch, but guess what? Nelson Cruz, it would have just taken 2 bounces before it got to him. So it's kind of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, even though Cruz probably has more of a sure glove, you just want the athlete out there so he can just get to the balls.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz, 15 years ago, if you move him back in time or whatever.
Yeah.
Same age. I mean, he would have been playing in the outfield for most teams, maybe until a year or two. I mean, he's really old now, but he would have been playing because he was serviceable. He would have been the serviceable quote,
right?
Outfielder. But now it's like, oh, we can't put him out there. So,
by the way, I just want to address. I pulled out the arm sleeve because I'm wearing the AI jersey. I don't want.
That is freaking sweet.
This thing. I think I had this. Maybe when I was in 7th grade.
It might have even... I remember you wanting one really bad, and it might have even been before that.
It might have been elementary school.
It's like, oh my, you don't need a goddamn arm sleeve.
Hey, AI had an influence, man. AI had all the head... I'm wearing a headband, too. All the headbands, the arm sleeves, the bag... a lot of the baggy shorts, and the tattoos, and especially everything he did... Yeah. He impacted basketball sports style more than any other athlete.
Yeah.
Any other no one wore the arm sleeve, and Anyway, sorry.
Who started the fucking tights? I hate the tights.
The tights? Oh, that's a good question.
That looks so bad.
I don't think he rocked tights.
I don't think he did, but the tights thing started. I don't know what. 5 or 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah,
that's such a bad look.
First NBA player to wear tights. Let's see. Oh. I'm not 100% positive that Kobe was the first NBA player to wear tights, but I'm certain that he was the first star player. So that actually might have been like a Tommy Copper injury thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what... AI actually had a reason to wear an arm sleeve too. But yeah, it was either some sort of injury thing or to cover up his tattoos, because like at the time it was much more frowned upon to be showing the tats.
Yeah.
LeBron had one in high school and put like a Band-Aid over it every game. But yeah. So anyway, that was quite a tangent there, but yeah. So we were talking about.
We're talking about baseball, but I don't know.
I think we're done talking about baseball.
Everybody just turned this off when we started talking about baseball. Anyway,
yeah, for real. You should have just saved that. But in not so good Seattle sports news. Oh wait, that's not the right tab. Where is it? Here it is. Pete Carroll says Philip Dorsett is not doing well and says he's not ready to return anytime soon. Philip Dorsett, the guy that I don't know. He was on the Patriots.
Who?
I forget that he's a part of this team every day until I see his name on Twitter sometimes. So, the offense is doing fine without him, I guess, but it would be nice to have him. I just want to know what. Like, I heard it was surgery on some bone spurs, but like, why didn't that happen earlier?
It sounds like this may have been a COVID accident, meaning you didn't get to do a physical on the guy before you signed him. This was an injury from before, is what I'm hearing, but it's kind of vague on what it actually is. So I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that we kind of forgot about him because I thought he was a pretty important piece.
Yeah.
Going into it, having a guy with kind of blazing speed, to at least pull a safety once in a while, I thought was important. But now, whatever.
Free Josh Gordon, because the appeals are supposed to take, I think, 6 months, and it's been like a full year now.
I don't even know nobody even knows what they're doing. Like, what appeal? Like, is there an appeal? Like,
there is, right? Like,
I don't know. Nobody said anything. Is he even suspended?
Like, that's the thing. Like, they haven't made a decision, so it's technically no, and he's gonna have to serve a suspension. But we're on to week 9 now.
Yeah,
and he hasn't been suspended for these weeks, even though he hasn't been able to play.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Free Josh Gordon.
Yeah, just I think. In any situation, whether it's a presidential election or your stoner wide receiver,
right?
You just want to know. You want to know what the deal is going to be, and then you move on either way. So if he has to miss the year, then he has to miss the year, and you can plan around that. I just think for the guy himself, but mostly for the Seahawks and the fans of the game. Everybody deserves an answer. So unless there's something else, or he had another slip up, or I don't know, because there's been nothing.
Yeah.
And all Pete has said is, I'm not allowed to talk about it, which I don't really know what that means either.
That makes it sound like definitely there is an appeal. Like, there's definitely they're at a step in the process. What step is that? Yeah. And are they doing anything at all to move to the next step? Because it does not seem like they are. They just say, oh, you kicked the shit out of your wife. Okay. You just can't play for 4 weeks. We'll tell you that right away.
Yeah.
Let's see. You beat your kid with a switch. It's a kid, so we'll do 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You smoke weed a few times. We'll just let it sit, we'll just bury the file. Like,
just mellow out, bro.
Yeah.
I don't, to be clear, I don't feel super sorry for Josh Gordon. He's known what the rules were, and he made his decisions. So I'm not one that feels real sorry for him, but you're right. Why is AB playing with the allegations that he's had and the disruptions that he's had to the league and his team, and the sexual harassment type stuff that I don't know what's true and what's not. I'm not judge and jury on that.
We could sound. Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Adrian Peterson. We could just go on and on. Like,
I will. Although I don't feel super sorry for Josh Gordon, I think obviously what he's done is way less bad than what some other players have done.
Yeah.
And I know that, there was some reports that, there was some performance enhancing stuff, but those guys get a set amount of time too. Yeah. Like we just had,
Demontre Moore,
the guy whose name I just figured out.
Demontre Moore, who looked really good yesterday or on Sunday.
Apparently, there's a reason for that.
Yes, seriously.
But he, 6 weeks, you get popped, and maybe there's an appeal, and sometimes those things get shortened. But you know how long and what the process is. So
we do have Rasheem Green returning though, or is it Rasheem
Green?
Rasheem Green, yeah. So hopefully.
He's probably about the level of Demontre Moore.
Yeah.
He's going to make a couple plays, but not, he's not dominant or, but he will help.
We just traded them for each other pretty much. So.
Yeah. So that's probably, okay.
Or Stephen Sullivan's the answer.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, baby.
God, wouldn't that be great if he turned out to be, like a 15 sack guy next year?
Dude,
he's not going to be. Let me be clear. I'm not predicting that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome though?
Even if he turned out to be just a 5 sack guy that just stayed on the Seahawks for like 7, 8, 9 seasons. Like, that would be so sick.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I'm not counting on that.
No, definitely not.
But I'm rooting for the guy.
I'm rooting for him and very appreciative that he's willing to accept any role that's thrown at him. That's telling. Obviously with the stuff he's gone through, I'm sure that's not the biggest issue he's faced in his life, switching to defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's had to sleep under a bridge and in other people's floors growing up. So, yeah, I think he'll, like he said, he'll kick the ball if that's what they want him to do. So
yeah, I love that. Also, I know Jordan won 6 championships. You didn't have to put it in the fucking notes, you asshole. You just keep tossing in these notes. I'm gonna take you off this Google Doc and just do this myself, so you can't alter anything that goes in here. Because
I just wasn't sure if you could count to 6. So.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fucking. Anyway. So. Yeah, I guess moving on from that whole ordeal, we have Tony La Russa making a comeback. I love this sentence from Jeff Passan, who, by the way, great insider, and also he's really funny. Chicago White Sox have hired Hall of Famer Tony La Russa as their new manager. La Russa, 76, managed the White Sox from 79 to 86, and his firing was owner Jerry Reinsdorf's great regret. Like, that's his great regret. That's his only one? That's his great regret, yeah.
Wow, I think he might have had a couple of other ones.
Yeah. La Russa last managed in 2011, wearing blah, 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 St. Louis championship. The hiring of Tony La Russa has ruffled feathers in the White Sox organization. Now, I talked to you about this. Tim Anderson, the biggest bat flip guy in the MLB, potentially.
Right.
Tony La Russa wasn't happy with Fernando Tatis hitting a home run in a 3-0 count up 7-0. Those aren't exactly related, but they're parallel, in my opinion.
He's old school.
Yeah. A number of employees have concerns about his ability to connect with younger players and how he'll adapt to the field after being away for 9 years. This was a Jerry Reinsdorf decision. Simple as that.
Oh boy.
Jerry Reinsdorf making the wrong decision by firing him, and apparently maybe making the wrong decision by hiring him.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe is it going to bring Jordan back to the Bulls too?
Or the White Sox. Maybe Jordan back to the White Sox.
Oh man. So, a couple of things on this. So growing up, most of my life I felt like Tony La Russa was one of the greatest managers of all time.
Me too, yeah.
Did it in some small markets, did some things in Oakland that, Oakland seems to always do, overachieve, but he did some great things there. When he was hired by the White Sox, I was a little kid in West Virginia. I was 9. So I was still living in West Virginia. That's how long ago this was.
When did you move here?
1979.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing, that gap. I think, he's probably not going to be a big analytics guy.
No, not at all. He's been away for 9 years. How much of analytics seeped into the game since then?
He's been around the game. He's had some front office jobs. So I think he is aware of how things are going. He's a very smart guy. He's always connected with players in the past. And just because someone's super old doesn't mean that they can't connect with people.
Pete Carroll, is he the oldest coach in the league?
Yeah,
Second oldest?
So he's only about 6 years younger than La Russa.
Yeah, and
6.5 years younger. So
yeah. It's a personality thing.
It is.
We're being ageist right now.
Yeah. So, he's shown an ability to connect with all types of players in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad move. It's a we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting move because this seemed like a team that was on the way up and could really compete. So, it seems a little bit out there, but I wish La Russa well. I have a lot of respect for him.
And it would be cool to see the White Sox be good, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Who cares? As long as they're not good at the same time the Mariners are, really.
that would mean the Mariners would have to be good.
Exactly.
Ever, so.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think he'll be able to connect with players. Will he be able to connect with a player like Tim Anderson, who is just taking the game in a place that I love? If you hit a home run, pimp it. If you strike a guy out, tell him to go sit the fuck down. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that dynamic of baseball, and I think it's what could potentially save the game. So I hope that Tony La Russa doesn't try to suppress any of that, which I don't think there's any evidence saying that he will, other than the Tatis thing, but that's more of a...
But a lot of people said stuff about that. Like, it's easy to say it when you're not on the team.
That's a quote-unquote unwritten rule thing and not like a showboat. Like, it was about... His quote was about it being a team sport and that being a me move, even though you're giving your team runs. I don't
are, but maybe you swing and miss, and
I suppose. Wait, guess what? He hit a home run.
He did that. Yeah, he did that time. Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows how he feels about? I guess, did Pujols ever bat? Like, I don't know. Did any of his players ever bat flip?
I mean, people didn't really do that much until a couple years ago.
Yeah. So
I don't mind that stuff to some degree. I hope it doesn't get out of control.
I mean, not every home run.
It better be a pretty big home run.
It better
not be a solo shot in the first inning.
It's got to be either a big home run or it's got to be like a no doubt. Like you, hit it in the third deck.
You murdered it. Or my favorite ones are the guy in front of you gets intentionally walked, and then you jack one.
Yeah,
you pimp the fuck out of that thing. You're doing cartwheels around the bases.
You throw your bat at the opposing manager if you do that.
Yeah, I remember Griffey grabbing his crotch at Sparky Anderson because Sparky basically said, looked at him and said, "You're not playing today."
Yeah.
And I think he intentionally walked him a couple times, and then he had to pitch to him. I don't remember the situation, and Griffey hit one out. And,
that's awesome.
So I like that stuff. If it gets to where it's all the time, then it's just noise.
Yeah, it becomes
white noise.
It becomes less special too.
Yeah,
and less electrifying.
But I don't think because he had a take about Tatis, when it's different when you're on the team.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean to me that he's gonna get have a war with Tim Anderson.
I don't think that'll happen either. Yeah, I just
I've never heard about him having difficulty with players.
Okay,
and maybe he did. But I don't remember players reacting to him or having a problem or wanting to be traded or any of that sort of stuff.
Candidly, I don't know a lot about La Russa other than kind of what he did with the Cardinals, but I didn't hear any of that either. So I can't sit here and act like Tim Anderson's going to hate him and the other players will too. Who knows?
Right.
All right. So we also got the kind of bouncing around everywhere here. The NBA.
They're bringing the Sonics back?
Although, oh my God, that reminds me. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So, first of all, the NBPA will vote as soon as Thursday on the 72-game December 22nd proposal. I did read a tweet that said a lot of the players did not like it at all, but apparently, according to Shams, growing belief around the players is that Christmas week start is inevitable, which, as a fan, great. I just hope this isn't gonna cause the players to sit out or I don't know. I hope that everything goes over smoothly more so than they come to this decision fast.
I just hope they figure it out.
Yeah.
I think I know it's a little tough on the players, but I think they need to start on or just before Christmas. I think that's a big time for the NBA.
For sure.
And I think the players need to recognize that. And honestly, if they don't want to come back, then I think they need to take a little, pay cut. They need to give up some pay if they're going to.
I agree.
That would be my deal with them. Like, okay, but we're missing huge ratings, because for a lot of us, especially, casual NBA fans, you don't really start watching it until Christmas. On Christmas Day, you know, they have a slate of big games, and even people like me will pay some attention to it. So I think they need to come back. Then they got to figure that out.
I agree. And then I just need to hold on. Woj made yesterday at, I guess I'll check the time of the tweet. Yesterday at 6:29 a.m., Woj made my heart drop. So, okay, I'm just going to read this slowly. The NBA is searching for ways to increase cash flow. So, I already said increasing cash flow.
Right.
The best way to do that, more teams.
Expansion team, yeah.
Increase cash flow into teams, and sources said the league is hopeful to expand guidelines on sports betting. I almost screamed out loud before I read the rest of the tweet. I know. The league is hopeful to expand, and it goes down to the next line too. Like, the word expand is like the last word on the second line of the tweet, so it's a natural stopping point of reading.
Yeah, that's
hopeful
rough.
to expand guidelines on sports betting, hard alcohol, and casinos could generate between 80 to 100 mil, which I'm pretty sure is still less than they would get with expanding, but
well, an expansion team is going to be $2 billion.
Yeah. Wait, so could generate between... I want to know if that's team-to-team revenue or if that's the whole NBA revenue. Because if it's team-to-team, it would be...
That's a lot. If it's for the whole league, that's actually not a huge amount of money.
That's really not.
Yeah.
And then the other Woj tweet I want to talk about, I'm not going to say fuck Woj because I love Woj, but that shit, like, oh my God, it made my heart sink.
Yeah.
So I actually really like this. So on November 2nd, a little bit later in the day, Woj tweeted about discussions on a play-in tournament, just like they did this year. Play-in tournament proposal has coalesced around structure ESPN first reported was gaining traction in early 2018. A 4-team tournament among the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds for the final 2 playoff spots in each conference. I think I really like that.
I like it.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. Kind of a play-in series.
The only thing is I'm actually just going to look up the gap between the 7 and 10 seed this year in the conferences. I feel like there can be a very big gap there, which is concerning, and I don't want, like, for example, the Blazers were the 8 seed. They were a much better team than the Grizzlies, and, like, if the Grizzlies would have made the playoffs, it wouldn't have been good.
Right.
This year.
And then how many, like, you can't, are you going to have a 7-game series? But you better not have a 3-game series because you're going to have some upsets there and you don't want.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Okay, so the 7 seed this year was the Nets in the East. 10 seed was the Hornets, and that's a 12-game difference.
Wow.
12 games there. Yeah. So, yeah, because it's win percentage, so it's weird. It's 9.5 game difference there. And in the Western Conference, it's the Mavs versus the Suns. Now, the Suns, I think, should have been in the playoffs this year just because they went 8-0 in the bubble. Right. And if you're going to have a team in the bubble go undefeated, how are they not in the playoffs? But there is a very large difference between the Mavs and the Suns for sure.
Right.
So, and keep in mind it's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 2 of the 4 teams are making it, and it would probably work itself out. But yeah, the whole 7-game, 1 game, or is it going to be the thing they did this year where the Suns would have to win 2 games against the Mavericks and the Mavs would only have to win 1? That's the only other thing I could think of, which I think makes the most sense, even though it makes it tough. For the 10 seed, I think it should be.
I like that versus a straight 3-game series.
I agree.
Where some fluky things can happen.
I agree. So I guess that's that, and I guess we're bouncing around to even more different sports.
Whoa.
UFC, got some UFC news. Izzy Adesanya, probably my favorite fighter currently. The style bender. You saw him fight, I think, once or twice.
Yeah.
He will be fighting for the light heavyweight title against Jan Blachowicz. So he is moving up from middleweight, And now I heard this on Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz. It's a great podcast. They talk a little bit about sports here and there. They're specifically fighting. They were talking about John Jones could. Do you know John Jones? Yeah. So he could potentially move up in weight, fight for the heavyweight title, and since Izzy's already moving up to light heavyweight.
Right.
If he wins this, they want to fight each other, Izzy and John Jones.
Okay.
In 2021, Israel Adesanya could be fighting for the heavyweight title at a catchweight.
Wow.
Which means Israel Adesanya could hold 3 belts at once.
Wow, that would be impressive.
A lot of things have to go right for that to happen.
Yeah.
But that would be absolute, like going from, and keep in mind, this isn't boxing. This isn't 5-pound differences in the weight classes.
Yeah.
UFC weight classes. So, let's see. What are the different, okay. Yeah, so anyway, it's like he would have to be moving up like 40 pounds. It would be nuts. So yeah, let's see. Middleweight is 175 to 185. I think he's on the lower end of that too.
Wow.
Light heavyweight is 195 to 205, so just 20 pounds up. Heavyweight 225 to 265.
That's hard to imagine.
So it would be a catch weight. So I don't know. Izzy would not have to gain 50 pounds.
No, because I think you can be under a weight, right?
Yeah, you can be under.
You just can't be over.
Yeah. So what I don't know is can they both be like, if they both fight at a catch weight, which is under what the heavyweight class is, can the heavyweight belt be up for grabs, or is Izzy's one belt up for, or is both of Izzy's belts up for grabs? Like who knows?
Fight for all the belts at once.
Seriously, yeah, no, I don't know how. So yeah, that's where my knowledge runs out. I have no clue how all that works, but
yeah,
I love Izzy. He has a great Twitter presence too. He's a good Twitter follow. Yeah, so Izzy would have to win. John Jones would have to come back and fight. I don't know if he's suspended or what's going on with him right now.
Yeah.
So Izzy has to win. John Jones has to come back and fight, get the heavyweight title back, and then Izzy has to agree to move up again. So yeah, I mean, a ton of shit has to happen, but I would love to see that.
That'd be fun. Wake me up when all that stuff happens.
Yeah. All right. So trade deadline passed. Pretty much nothing at all happened. There was an interdivisional trade, which was interesting.
Yeah.
The Patriots sent some DB to the Dolphins, I think.
Right.
So cool.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
Weird. And then we kind of briefly talked about Quan Alexander being traded from the Niners and how it's a little interesting that they kind of gave up on him. You know, he hasn't been playing for him, and he has some cap. But as I put it last time, it seems like they're hedging a bet there and you know, creating some space for themselves to potentially cut Jimmy, as you think they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And or I mean, they're not gonna blow it up, but you know, a mini rebuild because they're young.
Here's a question for you. Did we see Jimmy G's last snap in a 49ers uniform?
Oh boy, yeah. How he's out indefinitely, right? Or is that still current that he's out indefinitely?
I think so, but it depends. Last I heard, it was going to depend on whether he needed surgery or not.
To miss at least 6 weeks due to high ankle sprain. Yeah.
So I mean, is he going to come back? So now, hey, if they're in contention for a playoff spot, then they may have him come back. Mm-hmm. So he can suck again.
But Nick Mullins is your starting quarterback for 6 weeks. I mean, he went 2-14 for you last time he was your starting quarterback.
So if they're out of the playoffs, they're not going to bring Jimmy G back.
No.
It's just that wouldn't be good for anyone. So I think there's a chance that, you know, you may not see him in a 49ers uniform ever again.
That'd be crazy, man.
There's only I think it's about $2.5 million or 2.8 million, somewhere in there, of dead money.
That's insane that honestly, shout out to, I guess, did the Niners sign that contract, or did they trade for it?
The Niners did the contract.
Okay, well, the Niners, that's a great contract for the Niners now looking back on it. I mean, it's like, you secure a guy that potentially could be the guy, but also you can just cut bait if you really need to.
Yeah, you give it a couple of years. If it doesn't work, then you're.
I mean,
able
I
to
guess
move on,
it's a good deal for Jimmy G too.
Yeah.
He got paid, so
he was unproven and he got paid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, the old phrase is the number one ability is availability.
Yeah.
And Jimmy G, I think, last year was his best year, and he was maybe 10th best quarterback in the league. Like, you could argue, you could tilt your head sideways and say he was the top 10 quarterback. At his peak. Well, the other issue with him, though, is aside from not being elite, is he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And he's hurt again.
Yep.
And again and again.
Yep.
So you can't. Your franchise quarterback can't miss seasons.
No.
Can't miss half of seasons.
Can't do it.
You know, there's
Won't do
look
it.
at the best quarterbacks in the game, and most of them have missed very few games
Aside
in their career.
from maybe one big injury.
Yeah, so but I mean, you look at Aaron Rodgers has, for the most part, been healthy. He's had a couple things here and there. Russell Wilson hasn't missed a start yet, knock on wood. Tom Brady had one severe injury, missed a season.
And that's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He broke his collarbone or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So these guys have stayed healthy for a better part of decades, and so you can't. Jimmy G, just on the injury part alone, you can't count on the guy to play for you.
Yeah,
and when he does play, he's not that great.
Seriously, I mean, there's nothing you can really look at right now that tells you that the Niners shouldn't cut him. And when you said that, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna play that bad. But with the combination of the injuries and him playing that bad, I'm not gonna go ahead and hop on the prediction with you that they're gonna cut him, but I would not be surprised at this point. Speaking of Niners injuries, George Kittle out for, well, the team doctor said 8 weeks. Kittle said 2 weeks. So I love George Kittle, but I mean, obviously, I hope. He's one of my favorite players in the league, to be honest. Yeah. So,
he does the dirty work and the pretty work.
Yeah,
so I like that.
I mean, he's the best tight end in the league.
Yeah,
I think a top 5 player in the league. So hope he's fine.
I do too. He's becoming another guy that's the thing. Is having trouble staying healthy.
Yeah, he gets nicked up a lot, and this is not just nicked up. This is like foot surgery potentially.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess so. We can pretty much write off the Niners as a contender at this point.
Yeah,
I think
it's hard to see them getting back into the division race. They could still, with the extra playoff spot.
True.
They could go 8-8 and
they could sneak in and surprise a team because they're not a bad football team.
Yeah.
But who would you consider like a real contender? Not just a team that can make it to the Super Bowl, not a team that you are predicting to make it to their conference championship, but teams that are looked at and are like, oh shit, we need to get through them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously the Chiefs, that goes without saying. Chiefs are one of them.
Oh yeah.
Probably the favorite out of anyone. Definitely. I don't think the Ravens are there anymore. I don't think that. I think they were last year, but they're not this year. I think they're
dangerous.
They're dangerous.
They can beat pretty much anyone,
and they can be the most dominant team at times. They can be a great football team, but I don't think you can look at them and say, like, oh shit, we got to go through the Ravens.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the Steelers are probably there, 7-0. I mean, when you're 7-0, they haven't played great teams, but they did beat the Ravens, and I think there was one other game that was pretty significant. So I for some reason, I just don't think of the Steelers like that, like I do the Chiefs. Yeah. But I think I should, because their defense is insane, and it seems like Big Ben is having a decent year.
Yeah, I mean, always has been a really good quarterback. Mm-hmm. Their defense is playing well. Ben's got some weapons as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're legit. I think the Chiefs are a better team than them, but in the AFC, AFC, it's hard to not see the Chiefs getting there. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, screwy things happen for sure, but you know, everyone. I mean, the Raiders. No, I mean, just looking through here. The Bills. I'm just still not a. You know, maybe he'll prove me wrong on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Josh Allen believer.
Yeah. Also with the Steelers, they beat Tennessee and Baltimore back to back. Now Tennessee seems a little fraudulent at this point.
Yeah.
But you know, other than that though,
It's a
they
good
had
team.
Giants, Denver, Houston, Philly, and They did smack down on Cleveland.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Whatever.
Who knows? Yeah.
You know,
Oh God, the Steelers are gonna be 10-0. They have
yeah.
Dallas, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville
Oh,
next.
wow.
Yeah, Steelers are gonna be 10-0.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a big Titans believer either. I
No.
think they're a good team, and you know, it's funny to see a team get to the AFC Championship game, but feel like they had no chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like
I know.
They were one game away from getting to the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
looking back at that team, I'm like, they had zero chance to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really feel like in the AFC, it's hard to, you know, the Chiefs.
Chiefs are in a tier.
Favorites.
Chiefs
Yeah.
are in a tier of their own
Yeah.
as like super contenders.
And then, you know, the Steelers. The Steelers are next, and then you have some teams that could sneak into the AFC Championship game, like the Titans, the Bills, you know,
Ravens.
teams like that. The Ravens.
Ravens they played the Steelers very close too, and
Yeah.
that was with Lamar Jackson having probably his worst game.
Right.
So
I just think, you know, Lamar Jackson, I've never been real big on him. He's exciting to watch, but I feel like, you know, every time he has an opportunity against one of the best teams in the NFL, he seems to struggle. I think he's feasts against, you know, some of the weaker defenses and struggles, you know, in the big games.
he doesn't have good games when he has to pass.
Yeah.
When he has to.
Yeah, when he has to, exactly.
he can
pass, but it's usually because the threat of the run is there.
The Ravens are the only team where I agree with establish the run, and the Browns. The Ravens and the Browns are pretty much, and you know, maybe you could throw the Titans in there. Those are like the only teams that I'm like, okay, establish the run, and then play action off of it. Those are the only teams. And when the Ravens are down, when the Ravens have to drive down the field with 2 minutes, can't really just be running. So, you know, those are when Lamar is expected to pass. Can he get it done? It's yet to be seen, but he did have 4 turnovers on Sunday.
Yeah,
He had 2 fumbles and 2 picks and a dropped pick. That was a terrible throw. A dropped pick too. So it really 5 turnovers, we'll call it. So
yeah, and the Steelers, I mean, they still outgained the Steelers basically 2-1 in yards, but the turnovers were the difference.
So here's the thing though. Does that make you more confident in the Ravens as a football team or less? Because Lamar, I think that's probably hands down Lamar's worst game.
Yeah.
And he is capable of throwing the ball well. He is. So does that...
It doesn't make me feel better about them, but it makes me feel worse about the Steelers, which actually makes me feel better.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think I'm there with you. Yeah, Steelers are 7-0. They're probably going to be 10-0. So it's kind of hard to not put them there. I mean, you know, what else can they do?
I think
Literally
you have
nothing.
to. They've won every game.
Yeah.
What
else can we ask of them?
Yeah.
And then I guess move over to the NFC. I'll just read off the division leaders here. The Eagles at 3-4-1.
They got a real shot to win it all this year.
Seahawks, you know, I'll throw Cardinals and Rams in there too. Packers, Bears, Bucks, and Saints. Yeah. So I think take off the Bears, probably take off the Rams. Obviously not the Eagles, probably not the Cardinals as a like real contender.
Yeah.
And then take off the Saints too, in my opinion.
I'm not quite ready to cross them off, but they're hanging on by a thread.
I think they can go as far as Drew Brees' arm can throw, and he can throw like 15 yards right now. So I don't know. To me, they're not. To me, it's not. We have to play the Saints right now. You know. Yeah. To me, I think the Bucks, Packers, and Seahawks are all kind of right there with each other. I'm going to put the Seahawks above those two teams by virtue of their record and what was seen last week against the Niners. And also the Packers just lost to the Vikings, for fuck's sake. So, So, yeah, I think my two... I mean, if I'm picking an NFC Championship game, it's probably going to be Bucs-Seahawks for me.
Those would be my top two, but I think the Seahawks, the Packers, the Buccaneers, and I'm going to keep the Saints in there.
Okay.
I think any of those four teams can get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because they all have strengths and they all have some pretty big flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the NFC being a lot more open than the AFC. I don't think the Cardinals are there yet. I know that they beat the Seahawks, but I just don't see them being there yet. And I don't think Jared Goff, I think 10 years from now, we're all going to be like, Jared Goff got to a Super Bowl?
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
that guy?
Yeah, it's the most forgotten Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah.
I already don't remember anything that happened from that game at all. Except for I think there was one Jared Goff missed throw that I do remember, and they only scored 3 points. Those are the things I remember from that game.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's, certainly 3, maybe 4 teams in the NFC that, again, like any, who knows?
Yeah.
I can't make a strong prediction.
And each of these teams have had games where they don't look like themselves, where the Packers lose to the Vikings. The Bucs, I will say, the Bucs they lost to the Saints by 11. That was the first game of the season. Yeah. Brady with the new team.
And he looked bad in that game.
He did look bad in that game. And then they also did lose to the Bears. And Brady also looked bad in that game. So,
but he's looked pretty good.
He's looked pretty good.
Season. Better than I expected.
Me too. Definitely, yeah.
With
definitely.
the weapons that he has. Mm-hmm. And you got AB coming in there. We'll see what he can do.
True, yeah.
But Brady looks like a guy that had no weapons last year.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Give him some weapons and he looks a lot better. I haven't seen... It's not like Breeze where I'm like, wow, he looks like a different guy.
Yeah.
Like Brady still looks pretty darn good.
They did also only beat the Giants by 2 on Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, also, they did cover the 13-point spread,
yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah.
And
Danny Dimes waiting an extra 9 seconds to throw a pass to,
Yeah, we could just
wide open running back, and he just sits there and, I think I'll wait till he's covered and then throw it.
Yeah. I guess let's just jump into some of the stuff that happened last week. So that's the big one on Monday night. Danny Dimes throwing a dime for a touchdown.
Yeah,
and then,
that's a great throw to Golden Tate.
Yeah, and then next play, by the way, free Golden Tate. Get him out of there, honestly. Throws it late, behind, slow, and maybe a pass interference. I will say, so we both came to the conclusion that it probably was pass interference. I think that's but ultimately we don't want them calling that because just for the sake of the game of football.
All right.
However, when you look at the screenshot of the frame where he runs into, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
It looks really bad.
I'll tell you live, when I watched it live, I didn't see anything that bad. I think though I was probably focused on that was a shitty throw.
Yeah.
So you don't fucking deserve it, but my and I never thought, oh, was that PI? And then they threw the flag and I'm like, oh, of course, and then when they get together and talk about it, they're going to do something weird, but ultimately, I don't think I don't want them calling that. I don't think you want to reward that play. The ball hit him in the arm.
It did, yeah.
I mean, I know he wasn't looking back at the ball, but it hit him on the arm.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There's not,
you don't deserve that call.
That kind of, if you're calling that one, that gives you room to call a bunch of soft shit.
Yeah,
I think.
I just don't. I'd rather no calls than calls.
Yeah, and that's what we said about. I think the biggest thing the NBA can do to fix its game is blow the whistle less. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they. Just stop blowing the whistle when the guy kicks his leg out and hits the other guy in the nuts, and then the guy that kicked his leg out falls down. It's a foul on the guy that just got kicked in the nuts. Like that. If we end that, along with just it's a physical game. Let the receiver and the cornerback fight.
Yeah.
Let them hand fight.
Yeah.
You know, if they're both pulling jerseys, instead of just saying, he pulled his jersey first and I think a little bit harder, just don't call it.
Yeah. I think it needs to be pretty clear.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
You know, I think there are too many. I think the NFL recognized that there were too many penalties being called. Mm-hmm. So if you look at holding penalties in the NFL, for as far as the offensive holding, not defensive holding, but so offensive linemen is primarily what we're talking about.
Right.
Those calls are way down, and it's so much more of an enjoyable product to watch because it's pretty damn rare that you're watching a game and you're frustrated that a hold wasn't called. I mean, it happens, mm-hmm. but it's pretty rare. It's usually when it's really obvious, it's isolated, it's out, the defensive end's coming around way on the outside and the guy grabs him and the ref doesn't see it.
And he was going to sack the quarterback. And also, chances are it was against your team. And that's why you
always.
noticed.
I'm envisioning this, and I'm envisioning being at Husky Stadium.
Seriously, yeah.
And, when we're able to go to games, we sit in the upper deck and you can see things develop. And those are the only times I can really think that I've yelled, "That's a hold" out mm-hmm. loud, or I've mm-hmm. heard other people yell it, because you see, it's like seeing the all-22, right?
Right, yeah.
But in a normal, when you're watching the NFL on TV, very rarely do you sit there and go, "Oh man, I can't believe they missed that holding call," unless it's a replay and you see slow motion. Yeah. So to me, less is more. Stop calling stupid, ticky-tack penalties and
for sure
play some ball.
All right, well, just run through the scores, and I'll stop if I have any notes to anything to talk about, and you stop me too. So we got Falcons-Panthers on Thursday.
Meh.
Okay.
Move on.
Niners-Seahawks. Hell yeah, baby. 37-27. We talked about that on Monday, so go check that out. Also subscribe. I guess.
Subscribe, you lazy bastards. It's just hit a button. It's not that hard. Fuckers. Even an old fuck like me can figure it out.
It's free, and you can undo it.
Yeah.
God damn it. Bills beat the Patriots 24-21. Patriots are a fucking mess.
Yeah.
The Bills are good, though, and they only lost by 3. So I guess not very many questions were answered as far as what the Bills are and what the Patriots are. But I think we know what the Patriots are. Just a mediocre football team at this point. Bengals beating the Titans by 11 points.
Yeah, that's shocking.
So that's when I referred to the Titans being potentially fraudulent. That is what I was referring to. They lose by 11 to Joe Burrow and the boys. They start 5-0. They beat Houston in overtime. Yeah. Keep in mind, they beat Minnesota by 1. Yeah. They beat Jacksonville by 3, and they beat Denver by 2.
Wow.
Those were their wins. They beat Buffalo. Okay. They did beat Buffalo 42-16. So that was when they were coming off the COVID shit.
Yeah.
I don't know,
and that's when we're like, oh, wow, they are pretty good.
Yeah. Because
Josh Allen is an MVP candidate.
Exactly. Because the first 3 wins, at the time, it wasn't known that Minnesota was ass. But, looking back, the first 3 wins didn't mean a lot. And that overtime win against Houston, you went to overtime with Houston, and if you give Deshaun Watson the ball there, if he wins the coin toss, who knows how that game ends up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess, we already kind of talked about it. How do we feel about the Titans?
Yeah, I think they're a good football team, not a great football team.
Yeah.
Tanny Time has his moments, but I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's, they have a great running back and a great running game, and that's going to keep them in games most of the time. But I don't think they have if you watch the AFC Championship game last year, it was very evident that they didn't want Tanny throwing the ball in key moments.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Jimmy G or Jared Goff, where you can see the coach pulling back the reins in key moments where normally you would want your star quarterback to take it home for you, and they're like, Jesus, we don't want him to fuck this up.
Yeah.
So he's a good player, not a great player. They're a good team, not a great team. So, and they've played some pretty weak competition and feasted on that. I think they're going to get their clocks cleaned by someone, and in the AFC. You know, they might win a playoff game or two, but they're not going to go very far.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Bengals sitting at 2-5-1. Joe Burrow, 26 for 37, 249, 2 touchdowns. Man, the Bengals. I mean, you got to be pretty excited if you're a Bengals fan, especially with you have a terrible offensive line, a terrible defense, and you got Joe Burrow putting up 31. I mean that's exciting.
Yeah.
And
it just sucks that they're the Bengals.
It does suck that they're
problem. It's like the Mariners.
Exactly. The Bungles. Okay, this is kind of an interesting take. I think Colin Cowherd had. Colin Cowherd coming with the takes, baby. I think he said that Ben Roethlisberger is the worst quarterback in the AFC North. I think he said Big Ben was. I don't think he might. He doesn't like Baker. He might have said Baker. I don't know. One of those. I think he said Big Ben.
I would take Big Ben over. If you're talking about this season,
mm-hmm.
If you're talking about I need a quarterback to try to win games this year.
Yeah.
I'm probably taking Big Ben over any of the other guys in that division.
See, but the thing is, like, you could kind of. Yeah. You could argue all of them.
Sure,
like,
yeah, because some people would say, I want Lamar. Lamar's going to win the game with his arms or his legs,
mm-hmm.
Well, probably just one of his arms.
Probably, yeah.
Just the idea.
Just the football throwing.
Chest pass.
Yeah.
I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy. I don't think he's ever going to amount to a whole bunch. And
yeah.
Joe Burrow is a question mark. Like,
yeah.
He's looked good at times, but I don't want him this year.
The argument for Joe Burrow is if you put him on a team like the Steelers or potentially, I mean, the Ravens aren't built for Joe Burrow, but a team as good as the Ravens,
right.
Who knows? But I think if we're trying to win a Super Bowl this year, I'd probably pick Lamar over Big Ben.
I would take Big Ben. For one thing, Lamar hasn't won a lot of big games.
That's the
Big
thing.
Ben
like
has
you can't really there's no game you can look at with Lamar and say that's a signature win against a great football team or he came back. How many comeback wins does Lamar Jackson have?
No, he's up there. They need to be ahead.
They're a front runner. That's the team they are. So maybe I do pick Big Ben. I don't know, but there is a sound argument for all of them. So that's why the take was interesting to me. Anyway, moving on. Raiders Browns. What a shitty game. Ugh. They didn't even that was the game that got lost on Red Zone. Like there's a game every week that just you forget is happening because they don't even show it on Red Zone. I'm pretty sure it's extremely windy. 16-6 Raiders.
Yeah,
that's
I forgot that game happened. Yeah, yuck.
Colts 41, Lions 21. Colts 5-2. Maybe my dark horse team is back.
Yeah,
I gave up on them, but I said it at the beginning of the year, so I'm just gonna stick with it. Shout out 41. Phillip Rivers had 262 and 3 touchdowns, so a little vintage Phil Rivers there. I think I'm pretty sure, I forget what league it was. This is a stat I heard on Pardon My Take. Phillip Rivers he's like the third leading fantasy quarterback of all time, right. But he has never had over a 30-point game.
Oh,
I don't know what the rules are for the league that they were using, but he has never had 5 touchdowns. He's only had 4 touchdowns, I think 9 times out of 240 some starts. Okay. He's never had over 30 points, but he's the third leading fantasy quarterback of all time. It's just 20 to 25 every week. Anyway, moving forward, we got Vikings beating the Packers. That's fucking funny.
Discount double check.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers didn't have a bad game. Dalvin Cook just had an insane game. 30 carries.
Wow.
For $163 and 3 touchdowns.
Wow. What year are we in?
Yeah, seriously. Also 2 receptions for 63 yards and a touchdown for him too. Wow. Also, you passed on him in fantasy.
And I have fucking Zeke Elliott.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Who's worse than his backup. If
Seriously,
you ask me.
yeah, Tony Pollard is better than him. Yeah. He doesn't. I mean, Zeke is fumbling all the time.
I don't know what happened to that guy. I don't know if he's just disinterested or what. But yikes.
So okay, this is actually one other thing I wanted to. I guess while we're on the Cowboys here, so you had the players, a player anonymously come out and say the coaches weren't good, which you know. Immediately you want to just look at Mike McCarthy and say, like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
But every single former player that I heard talk about this say, this is how you handle it. Whether Mike McCarthy is a terrible coach or not, you got to, at first, at least try to talk to him, try to talk to the team. And one funny thing I heard Deion Sanders say was, like, it's time for a players-only meeting. And I think it was, this is another part of my take thing, but he was asked, do players meetings ever work? And he just goes, no, but you got to do it. Like, you just got it. Like,
I've heard of a lot of players only meetings during my lifetime. And that's when you know your fucking season is over.
Yeah.
That's when you know that everything is falling apart and your season is done. When the players only, I've never seen a team like suddenly turn it around. That's when it's done. That's when it's over.
And dusted.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Here's the thing. I mean, Mike McCarthy won a hell of a lot of games in Green Bay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is all the credit go to Aaron Rodgers for that? I don't know. But he did some things right.
Yeah.
For quite a few years. So
it's crazy.
Is he just a terrible coach?
So it begs the question: has this been a locker room problem for like 2 decades? Like, has the locker room been an issue in Dallas for the last 2 decades? Because it seems like that might be the case at this point, where there has been no matter how much talent this team has, like positive or negative, it's been the same outcome.
Yeah,
it's been the same thing, and their best seasons have been like 9-7, 10-6, and don't win a playoff game. Like, that's been their best. It's been their best shit. So I don't know. And then if you're saying if the locker room's really been an issue for this long, that seems like Jerry Jones would have something to do with it. I don't know how, but how do you have a shitty locker room for that long with different coaches and everything?
Well, here, I'll tell you. So I don't care if you're talking about Little League Baseball or the NFL, whatever level you're talking about. So Little League Baseball, I can tell you where the parent complaint's going to come from. Look at the bottom of the standings.
Yep.
Winning cures pretty much everything.
True. Yeah.
So if you're the Cowboys and everyone's telling you, oh, you're a Super Bowl contender, and then a couple weeks in or halfway through the season, it's evident that you're not. That's where it comes from. They had high expectations. It didn't work out. Are you going to look in the mirror, or are you going to look at the coach? You're going to look at the coach. It's a lot easier to do that.
Well, this seems like a chicken or the egg thing. Are they bad because they had a bad locker room, or is the locker room bad because they're bad?
They're just not that good. They're not very good. I mean, they're just not a very good team. They haven't been for 25 years.
Right, and is that a locker room issue? That's what I'm...
It's a talent issue. They don't have...
You think?
Yeah.
They've had talent.
They've had star power talent. They haven't had depth talent.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
You don't win a Super Bowl with 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, true.
What defensive studs have they had?
Yeah.
Have they had a defense across the board that was feared? For the most part, no.
Mm-mm.
They've had holes every year. This year they had holes, and they've had obviously a lot of injuries their offensive line went from, one of the best in the league to one of the worst due to injuries and retirements.
A guy that looked like he might be that dominant player, Leighton Vander Esch, also out.
Yeah.
He's been injured all the time. So
yeah. So they just haven't, I think I said this on an earlier podcast. Every time a team signs a stud wide receiver, they're projected to take a big leap.
They're contenders in everyone's eyes.
Yeah, that's just not. Yeah, they help. It helps to have a great wide receiver, but you got to have a complete team, and they haven't for a long time.
Yeah.
Ever since Jimmy Johnson split, they haven't had consistent talent. They've had okay talent. They've, competed and they've made the playoffs here and there, but they haven't had a Super Bowl quarterback. Dak is, he's okay. Mm-hmm. He's pretty good. But they haven't had all the pieces that you need to win a title. So to me, it's a talent issue. And then they're pumped up every year like they're going to the goddamn Super Bowl every year after year after year. And I was a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So I was into that hype when I was a kid. But every year they're I don't know what it is. They're America's team or whatever. They're projected to be, a Super Bowl contender, and guess what? Every year they're not. So
I bought into the hype this year too. Not like I was excited for them to be good, but I thought they were going to be good.
Yeah. So if you're told you're going to the Super Bowl and you lose a couple games, that's when your locker room starts to fall apart and you start blaming the coach.
Right. Okay. So
look at Jerry Jones. That's the problem.
Yeah. So in that case,
shut up and write the checks, Jerry. That's how you're going to get back to the Super Bowl.
100%, I agree with that. Now, because if you're Jerry Jones, you're not going to fire yourself.
No.
When do you fire Mike McCarthy? Do you just wait? Do you? They're not. I know they're not as close as him and Jason Garrett were, obviously, because Garrett was a backup quarterback for them, then an assistant. Like it took years and years and years to build that strong relationship that kept him his job for so long. So McCarthy just said he signed up to PFF and lied about it, pretty much, right. And that's why he got the job. So like, when do you pull the plug?
I guess I would want to assess what his energy level is.
Yeah.
Like, does he still have a passion to be a great football coach? Sometimes that wanes. Some guys realize it, and if you look at who was the Steelers coach before Tomlin, he's on CBS now as a commentator.
I'll look it up. I forget his name.
God damn it. I can't believe I forgot his name. But I always assumed that guy would come back, but he never did.
Bill Cowher.
Yeah, Bill Cowher. Considered one of the great coaches in the league when he stepped down. Hasn't come back. Why? Because he's realized to himself that his energy level, he wasn't going to put the commitment into it that you need to be a great coach. So some guys don't realize that, and they have to get fired a couple times. Mm-hmm. So maybe McCarthy's one of those guys. To me, if the locker room is falling apart, you probably have to get rid of the guy. Here's the weird thing. They still have a shot at a division title.
That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part.
So do you have someone on your staff that you could elevate to head coach now?
Mm-hmm.
The offensive coordinator, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name too.
Kellen Moore.
So I think Jerry has a love affair. I think Jerry has felt like Kellen Moore is going to be my head coach someday.
Yeah.
Does he just do it now?
I mean,
I don't know.
I that's the question too with like quarterbacks. You don't want to throw them into the fire too early, but some of them you do. Like, is that how would Kellen Moore handle that? I don't know. But yeah, big boy DiNucci couldn't get it done, by the way. 23-9 Eagles. Please stop putting the NFC East in primetime. Like, can we finally
game of the week every week?
Yeah. So also Andy Dalton looked like he may come back this week. He is now on the COVID reserve list. So you got Gucci DiNucci starting another going next week. Yeah, I think they play. Who do they play? They play a good team.
I find it interesting. One thing that I loved about the last Seahawks game was
they play the Ravens next too.
Oh. Yeah, that's the time. Lamar's putting up video game numbers for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really liked in the Seahawks game. I don't think we talked about this when Russ got hit late. I like that the guys came in and were like, "You don't touch my fucking quarterback."
Yeah, DK was Metcalf, in there. Yeah,
and there were other guys too. I love that. I love that. When Andy Dalton got nailed,
didn't shit happen. Yeah,
get out of here, Ginger.
Yeah. Sorry,
whatever.
Bud. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yeah. So, Cowboys are a mess. Eagles seem like they probably have this in the bag.
Yeah, I mean they're probably. I think they're the best team now.
I do too. Yeah. So
but they're pretty bad.
Okay, Jets Chiefs 35-9. Wouldn't expect anything different really. So also, when it's insane to me that Adam Gase still has a job. And it's insane to me that Greg Williams ever got hired again.
Yeah, psychopath.
But so this game, this isn't a game. This game in particular isn't worth firing Adam Gase. Every game is worth firing Adam Gase, but not this specifically. When you're trying to develop a quarterback, clearly this guy is not a quarterback whisperer like he was supposed to be. He just hopped on Peyton Manning's back and let him throw for a record of touchdowns and got so much money because of it.
Yeah.
So why haven't the Jets done that? Why haven't they fired him? And obviously we would have done it, we would have done it weeks ago. But when would you at this point? Just now? Now and then now and now?
Yeah, I mean, I would think just for the... I would fire the guy just to fire the guy. I don't think it's really going to help. And maybe you want him to stay there so you can lose games and get Trevor Lawrence, and maybe you trade Sam Darnold.
There will be a team that would probably give up a decent bit for
Somebody
him.
will give up a second-round pick for him, I think, because they'll be like, well, if he's not playing for the Jets, which are the Mariners of the NFL right now.
Yeah, seriously.
And that's another team that, the one common denominator through all their shitty coaches and all of their terrible quarterbacks, all of their draft busts, the one thing common thread is the owner.
Yeah, for real.
That's the one thing that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
There's a reason they haven't won a title since 1969.
God, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that New York teams just can't seem to win shit
Yeah.
other than the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, why aren't the Knicks in there? Why?
Knicks, Nets.
The Giants have been good.
True, the Giants,
Yeah, they've been legit. But you would think the Jets...
But they were like a 20-point underdog in that Super Bowl. Yeah. They have not built dominant teams.
No.
It's crazy.
They've almost never... I mean, they went to a couple... Buddy Ryan took them to a couple AFC championship games. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like the Titans from last year where, but they didn't have any prayer. But it was... Basically, their defense was, what carried them there. So, but yeah, they've been, other than a couple years with Buddy Ryan, they've been completely irrelevant for my entire lifetime.
Are you talking Rex Ryan?
Sorry, Rex Ryan.
Buddy
My
Ryan,
bad.
Yeah,
Buddy Ryan's his dad.
Coach. Yeah, Buddy Ryan is his dad.
Buddy Ryan was the 86 Bears defensive coach.
I thought, yeah,
or 85,
I was like,
85 Bears.
I was like, that's not Rex's nickname.
My bad.
Is it? Yeah. No.
That's his dad.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I knew who you were talking about.
Sorry, Rex. Yeah, Rex Ryan. I'm getting so old that I I remember their dads, know. But yeah, so Rex Ryan, they were relevant under him.
Definitely.
But they weren't great.
At that time though, they had one half of the field that a team just wouldn't throw to.
Yeah.
Revis Island took away half the field. It makes it a lot easier to be a defensive coordinator or defensive head coach. So, I don't know. Moving forward, we got Dolphins beating the Rams by 11 points. Tua did not look particularly good in this.
He had 90 yards passing, right?
Jared Goff threw the ball 61 times and only had 385, a touchdown, and 2 picks.
How do you throw for 385 yards and score 17 points?
That's embarrassing.
How does that happen?
It's embarrassing. He averaged 5.8 yards an attempt. Ugh, gross. So you put up 17 points. He had some real key turnovers, I think. Yeah. I think the turnovers came at really bad times.
The pick six, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Or fumble return, I forget which.
Yeah. Some, yeah. And then he... oh, wow, he had 2 fumbles, too.
Wow.
I didn't realize he had 2 fumbles as well. So 1 touchdown for 4 turnovers. Yeah, Tua didn't look particularly great. So, I mean, I guess we'll see with him. He did have... so Myles Gaskin and Tua both had fumbles, and they came at times where I was like, oh shit, here we go. The Rams are.
Yeah.
They have it's a short field and they're gonna turn it up now, but no, they're just not a good football team.
You know why Tua's playing, right?
Why is that?
I mean, they're a better football team with Fitzmagic out there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For right now, he is playing because they have Houston's draft pick because Houston traded their everything for.
That's right. Oh
for
my
Laramie
God.
Tunsil.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mr. Gas Mask.
So they want to know, is Tua our guy?
Yeah.
So if he's not our guy, then we're gonna draft another quarterback.
You really think they're gonna do that?
If he's not the guy.
But do you think they're gonna make that conclusion with like how
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, they may not fully know, but if he craps all over himself, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if he's terrible, yeah.
I mean, look at Arizona. That's what they did.
True.
And they're a relevant football team.
Yeah.
And what's his face?
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. So I don't know who has more of a punchable face, Josh Rosen or the Rams quarterback.
Jared Goff. Yeah,
Jared
that's
Goff.
a good point.
That's a good debate. I'd like to catch Rosen's nose. I think that's a pretty big target that I'd have it. I'd enjoy that.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Pretty sure Josh Rosen's Jewish, Dad. You racist son of a bitch. You racist son of a bitch. Anyway, no, he objectively does have a punchable face. And
he has a
nose.
punchable face. Anyway, God, now I've lost my train of thought.
I didn't have to expose you like that.
But he's out of the league, or he was. Maybe he ended up signing.
He
somewhere.
was still on the Dolphins this year, and then I think he got cut.
He got cut by the Dolphins before the season started, or real early in the
Rosen
season.
had a bar mitzvah and identifies as Jewish, Dad. And you
Oh,
said
boy.
he has. You said, oh my God, no, he okay, no, he does have a
Very
big
punchable
nose.
face.
Very punchable face, very big nose. But, yeah. So good for the Dolphins. I don't think unless Tua is like terrible, I don't think they would give up on him. I don't think
Here's
they
the
would.
thing. I would draft a quarterback every year until I got one.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean,
'Cause it's the most important position in sports.
look what the Patriots did. They obviously their quarterback situation isn't great right now, but they flipped Jimmy G into whatever they got back for him. They flipped like Ryan Mallett. I think they traded him for like anything. Like so at the very least you have a trade piece, especially if you got a good football team, you can make them look good.
Yeah.
In the preseason, and if your quarterback happens to go down, but yeah. So moving forward, we got Steelers Ravens. We kind of already touched on this. Lamar probably the worst game of his career, so not really sure if that was just because he played an awesome defense or if it was just a bad game for Lamar. And if he doesn't have such a terrible game, Ravens probably come out with this. So
yeah, I mean they had a lot more yards and
very untimely. Not only did he have 4 turnovers, they were all very untimely. So we also got Broncos beating the Chargers by 1. Who really cares? Actually, I do want to see what Justin Herbert did. Ooh,
he every week he's been putting up pretty good numbers and then they've fallen apart.
Yeah, interesting. He did have 2 picks.
And I think those were late. They were up 24-3 or something.
Yeah, they were. They were up a lot. 6.5 yards an attempt. He did have 278, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Let's see. Did he fumble? Nope, no fumbles. So, yeah, not a terrible game, but it again, untimely errors, and that's concerning. Again,
that's what rookies do. They're gonna have games like that.
Again, I'm not hopping on the Justin Herbert train. I still think he's gonna be bad. I'm not rooting for that.
Yeah.
Although I do like when my takes are correct.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not
you're rooting for your take.
I'm rooting for my take.
Yeah, always root for your take.
I'm rooting for my take. If Justin Herbert is actually good, I really couldn't care less. And ultimately, it makes me sad to see people be busts.
Yeah.
There's not really ever an instance where it's like some people find it really funny, unless the guy is like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then it's like I don't know. and Herbert seems like a good kid. So
Yeah.
Anyway, moving forward, we got Saints beating the Bears. That went to overtime?
Yeah, that was a pretty ugly game. I watched just a little bit of
I knew it was ugly. I did not know it went to overtime.
Yeah.
I just didn't pay attention. We already talked about Cowboys, Eagles, and Bucks, Giants. I mean, we already kind of talked about it. All right, so last thing we want to talk about before we move into some segments, UW got a game coming up this Saturday.
Yeah.
So excited. So excited. It doesn't feel like it's really going to happen.
I know. It's kind of like, I mean, I was this way with the NFL too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like until...
Even with the NBA coming back. So
Until I see the ball in the air, like I haven't fully accepted it. But
yeah.
I'm excited about it. There's a lot of mystery around UW this year.
Gotten this close, and I mean, do we know who the quarterback is?
We don't know anything.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so.
So I mentioned earlier they had the media session where they lined up 6 quarterbacks and 6 centers and had them all snap. And then they released the depth chart, and it's so depth chart. Normally they list first and second string.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see an or. So, this guy or that guy, but you still have to put someone's name first, right? On the or thing. Yeah. So, for the quarterbacks, they are listed in alphabetical. The top 4 are listed in alphabetical order, and they all say or.
Oh my God, dude!
So it's Ethan Garbers, who's probably the least likely, in my opinion, to be the starter. He's a true freshman, or. Sir, I'm trying to remember the order now.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So Kevin Thompson was listed last. Dylan Morris, I think, was listed. It must have been listed second if it was
whenever the names order. Whatever the alphabet is.
Yeah. I'm not so good with the alphabet. So. Yeah, and Jimmy has said, you'll find out at 7:30 on Saturday who the quarterback's going to be. Now I've heard 2 things. I think if I had to put money on it, I'm going with a 25-year-old to start. I think that's the more sure thing, and I'm hearing more of that. But I've also heard that Dylan Morris is the guy. So I've heard 2 different reports. Not really reports. I shouldn't say reports. No one really knows anything.
Yeah, just
those are the rumors.
Yeah, rumors.
But it sounds like Sermon. He should have some. Maybe he can. Spend some more time at home or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But oh God, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So UWQBs. That's what's going on.
So I also wouldn't be surprised to see 2 guys play, which I'm never. The old story is if you have 2 quarterbacks, it means you have no quarterback. So
I usually agree with that sentiment.
I hope. Now the one thing though is these 2 quarterbacks are very different. So
okay,
Kevin Thompson is a runner.
Yeah,
so,
true. Yeah.
I could see that a little bit, but no, I hope one guy comes out and is awesome and establishes himself. Got a good Cal team, good defense. Mm-hmm. They had a few guys opt out, but they're still strong. They lost the Washington kid Weaver that destroyed them last year and the year before. Cal has had their number the last couple of years. We had the Lightning game last year, and an upset the year before that as well, where you had your backup quarterback throw a pick 6.
Yep.
That that's why you don't bring in the backup. But I do like UW to win this game, but barely. Like this is one I could definitely see them losing. This one and at Oregon are my 2 biggest concerns. During the season. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We don't know. There's so many things we don't know. What's their offense really going to look like? We pretty much know who their offensive linemen are going to be. They've moved a couple guys. They're going to have the biggest offensive line that they've ever had. offensive line and running game and defense should be really strong.
Yeah.
You got some young defensive linemen that are highly touted. You have a lot of very talented receivers who haven't done a whole lot.
Yeah, what you just said is the opposite of the Seahawks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Offensive line, although the line has been good this year.
It's been pretty good, yeah.
Offensive line, defense, and run game. That's funny. I guess it'll be a good a little refreshing to hopefully see the trenches dominate. I love watching that. It just makes the game much more relaxing, just to know you got solid guys holding down the quarterback, and on any given play you could see a sack. It's fun. Let's see, we got I think the spread. I just read something that said the spread started at 6 for UW.
I thought that, especially at Cal,
Yeah.
I thought I thought that was a little. There's a couple of spreads that are really strange.
It's now 2.5. I think.
Wow, that's a big drop, and
this is the same website. It jumped from 6 to 2.5.
That is a number that makes more sense to me.
It does, yeah, but it's such a big jump. What happened?
What
what happened?
It just, I think all the money was going on one side because they're like, wait, Cal beat UW the last 2 years.
Yeah,
they've both been low-scoring games, so look for a first team to 20 points wins this game. So.
The matchup predictor has Cal. ESPN's matchup predictor has Cal with a 51% chance of winning.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I wouldn't put money on UW. I think they've got a really good chance, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah.
The other one that's weird. Do you see USC Arizona State? That was another one that spread was. Was it double digits? I mean,
holy shit! Why?
It was crazy.
For who? I don't even know which team it would be for.
USC.
What?
Yeah.
For what? For why?
I like ASU to win the game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'd put a lot of money on it.
I might take him straight up.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Spread. Yeah. So, I'm just excited more than anything. Just really excited. Let's see.
It's been hard to watch any college football the last few weeks because we haven't been invited to that party. So it's glad to.
For real, yeah.
Better late than never.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything. Anyway. Okay. I guess that only leaves one thing.
Oh baby!
The Howard Schultz Clown of the Week. All right. My clown of the week. It's a little lame. I'm just going to say it.
Not a lot of big clowns this week.
Nah.
Yeah, we need somebody to step up and be a horse's ass.
There's some easy targets you could always go with, brief mention that a candidate thought he won the election last night, but didn't. I'm not going to use that as my clown of the week.
So are you going to use it as your lock of the week?
No. Not my player of the week either. So
okay, fair enough.
So my clown of the week is going to be Rob Manfred, simply for the fact that he was announcing the Gold Gloves on Election Day. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah,
everything that the MLB does right now is stupid.
So here's the thing, and the timing of these things is a little hard to predict sometimes. Not the presidential election.
Yeah.
That's not hard to predict, but. So what you want to announce things at times where you will get the most exposure for your sport.
This isn't like bad news that you dump on a Friday.
No,
this isn't the
it's
Friday
not a
news dump.
No. You want to maximize. You want ESPN talking about your Gold Glove winners because
you want
there's
people to
nothing
start
else
learning
going
their
on.
names and
So normally a Tuesday is a great day to do that because it's Tuesday. There's no NFL game. There's not a whole lot going on. You're doing it after the It's a great, but yeah, nobody. Yeah,
it happens to be Super Tuesday. That is the problem. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's really stupid because those players aren't getting the recognition. No. So yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know J.P. Crawford won yesterday. I didn't even know until you told me. So yeah,
very strange. So yeah, but he's right up there. I mean. He's you could almost name the award after him.
There's a few guys that we've talked about that we have said previously could be the clown every single week.
He's in the Clown Hall of Fame. He doesn't need. I'm waiving the waiting period.
You know what he should be the commissioner of? The commissioner of the clown committee. That's his job. The CCC.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's my clown. What's yours?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, I mean, he's,
not one of my favorite people, but so Michigan State. So Jim Harbaugh is the coach at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a rivalry there with Michigan State. Michigan State lost to Rutgers, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers.
We're talking Rutgers football here, ladies and gentlemen.
Rutgers.
We're talking Rutgers.
They do have a football team.
They got Greg Schiano, though.
Oh, they got him back. That's the one little successful period they had.
Yeah, one redeeming factor for that football team right now.
Yeah. So Michigan State hired away the Colorado coach who really hadn't done a whole lot either.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Michigan State looks like they're really down going, they're playing Michigan, thought to be they've had a lot of hype the last few years with Harbaugh.
Weren't they in the top 10 going into this week?
I think so. And, Harbaugh loses the game to Michigan State.
So insane.
Yeah, so he's my clown of the week. That's a terrible loss, and he's still hasn't beaten Ohio State, and it ain't happening this year. So I wonder how long is it until he gets shoved out of there?
Do you think the peak of the John Harbaugh Wolverines was and forever will be being an inch away from Ohio State?
Yeah,
a few years ago.
Yeah, I think that's the peak, and it's a tricky thing. So he's an alum. He was a star quarterback at Michigan.
Yeah.
So with Jim Harbaugh, you gotta, they need to find a way to not make it ugly. But I don't think Jim Harbaugh knows any other way.
Michigan was Michigan was 13, by the way, and for a guy that's supposed to be, can you name one quarterback he's had? Like legit one.
Colin Kaepernick.
I can name. Well, no, I'm talking.
I know in college, no.
I can name the one they had last year. That's just because it's because it was last year.
I don't remember his
Shea
name.
Patterson, and he wasn't good.
Right.
And he wasn't good.
Yeah.
I don't remember him because he was good. I remember him because it was last year. And in the past, we have talked about how Jim Harbaugh still. How does he never have a good quarterback? Especially, dude, like Justin Fields was transferring from Georgia. Baker Mayfield, like how many guys could he have landed? Like, is he just ass at recruiting?
He's either it's either is he recruiting the wrong guys or not developing them. It's always hard to distinguish between the two. I think they've gotten some fairly big recruits to go there. I mean, it's Michigan. I mean, they're usually going to get some guys.
You would think. I mean, they got to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I don't like Michigan football anyway. I never have. They were kind of a rival for UW in a way growing up. They've had a lot of Rose Bowl clashes and.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sad to see it, but man, you can't lose to a bad Michigan State team like that.
Nah. All right. Let's move into our player of the week. If you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, and this one I'm gonna have to hedge my bet a little bit on this one.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I don't know if Chris Carson is playing or not.
Right. I did this last week with Jamal Adams. You're good.
Yeah. But I really like whoever gets the most carries for the Seahawks to do some real damage against the Bills. The Bills are really good against the pass. I think we can still get them with the pass.
Yeah.
But they're ass against the run. I like especially if Chris Carson plays, to have a big game.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying he's going to get 30 carries.
Right.
But I think. We're going to put up some good running numbers or have some big runs against them, and that's going to be a big part of the reason. It'll probably be a little bit of an ugly game.
Yeah, I can see that. I like that pick though.
So I hope Chris Carson plays. If not, and I don't know who's going to get it might be DJ Dallas. It may be a mix between him and Homer.
How long is Carlos Hyde out? Do we know?
He's got a hammy. Those are hard to predict,
yeah.
but it sounds like he's probably not playing.
Right.
And Carson has a chance, but we don't know for sure either.
Week to week. I mean, that means anything.
Uh-huh.
Could be week to 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So, my player of the week, I'm gonna go with wide receiver for the Steelers, Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
Rookie?
I think he might be.
Rookie? He's on my fantasy team. Been on my bench this whole year, just putting up numbers on my bench.
Yeah.
I have hella receivers, so I don't know. But playing against the Cowboys, the spread is 14 for this game.
Wow.
Which, even with the Cowboys certifiably being bad, I didn't ever expect to see a spread like that for them specifically. So, yeah, give me Deontay Johnson, electrifying wide receiver against the Cowboys, who are dog shit.
Yeah, they're not going to try to tackle anybody. So
No.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
But if you play him on your fantasy team, then he's going to have a bad week.
That's the thing.
So you should probably just leave him on your bench.
Do I want to win in fantasy, or do I want my player of the week to hit? What's more important? The thing is, I put some money into that fantasy league, but I put more money into this podcast set.
That's right.
So it's like, I should probably sit him for the content. I'll sit him for the content. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move into the lock of the week now. Do you want to go first or?
Sure. Yeah. And I struggled with this one. I really thought about. Did you say UW is 2.5?
Yeah.
At 3, I didn't like it. At 2.5, I kind of like it, but I don't think I'm gonna go there.
That was like betonline.com. Like that wasn't. Okay. I don't know. I'm not familiar with betting websites, so that could be like a very reputable website. I just don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have one that jumped out at me. I am 9-1 though.
I think you're 9. If I've lost. I've been on a run here. I'm 7-3. Well. I'm 7-3.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore did get the over last week. Made me sweat for a while, but they came through at the end. But I like Miami +6 against Arizona.
That's a good
I don't
pick.
think Arizona's going to blow them out. Arizona may win the game, but I think it's going to be by less than 6 points.
I will give you that pick right now. The line has changed to 4.5.
Whoa!
I will let you keep that though. I will let you keep that. Ooh. So keep it with 6.
Okay.
Keep it with 6, because
That's funny. I checked it like earlier today.
That's funny. ESPN has 4.5 right now. I'll refresh the page just to make sure.
No, I'm sure that's correct. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, lines can differ. You could walk through every Vegas casino and see a different line. Now, usually they're going to be within a half a point of each other. Mm-hmm. They usually don't change much unless there's a significant injury.
Or just everyone's taking one side of it.
So you'll see, especially a season opener. So the UW game we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
There's no data. Nobody knows who the quarterback's going to be.
Especially in a season like this.
It's 2020.
2020, yeah.
So Vegas puts that number out there, and then suddenly all the money's going on one side, and they adjust it until it kind of evens out. Because Vegas, a lot of people don't realize this, but Vegas doesn't give a shit who wins. Vegas isn't trying to get all the money on one side and take it from everybody. Vegas wants their 10%. They want even money on both sides, so they just get their 10%.
They just don't want to take a huge loss on whatever hits, basically. Yeah. So that I wonder, I guess everyone was taking the Dolphins then, right? They moved it.
Yeah, so they moved it. Yeah, okay.
Or maybe there's some news that happened within the last.
Yeah, probably.
Oh wait, I do have a notification on my Twitter.
Oh.
Before I make my lock of the week. Oh, it's a like. It's a like on Twitter. Okay, that's right. I get likes on my tweets from my own sister.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So.
TJ Barr. We need to have TJ Barr on before the Apple Cup.
Hey, yeah. TJ Barr, if you hear this or whatever, I can contact him via like 5 different social media platforms.
He gets on. I don't know what you call those things, but the things that like accordion upward.
Oh yeah,
like
it's the man lift or something like that.
I don't know. He gets on one of those and records practice, so maybe he could leak some shit to us.
Yeah. Let's interrogate him on the podcast.
We'll get him. We'll get him.
Yeah, TJ, if you're listening to this, we'd love to have you on, especially for the Apple Cup. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. My lock is going to be, I'm always out here taking the underdog teams to cover.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to take the favorite to cover, and it's going to be Baltimore -2.5 against the Colts. I think Lamar's gonna, the Colts have Darius Leonard back, which makes it a whole different football team, but I think this is a Lamar revenge game.
I think that's a good pick, and one that I must have missed it. I might have taken that one.
Yeah.
I think I like yours. I like your lock better than mine. Want to trade?
No, not at all.
Damn it.
Yeah, I just think this is a classic setup for a Ravens and mostly Lamar revenge game. I think they're gonna put up numbers. So yeah. I guess you got anything else? This is quite a long episode.
No, other than bow down to Washington. Bow. I won't sing the whole song.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm
very excited.
Big Husky game, big Seahawks game. See how they stack up against the Bills.
The Bills. Yeah.
It's not.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
There you go. Yeah. So, exciting weekend.
Yeah, very. Anything else?
No, I don't know if we'll find out who our president's going to be.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't see anything burning, so I guess it hasn't been decided yet.
Yeah, for real. Other than that, go Hawks, go Dogs, bring them back, go Mariners, go Storm, go Sounders.
Yeah, Sounders, yeah.
Throw them in there.
Rain, don't forget the Seattle Rain.
Fuck!
You sexist bastard.
We do have a rugby team.
Oh.
I forget what they're called, but go Seattle Rugby. And go Kraken.
Go Kraken, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hour and 41 minutes in.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did not. I was kind of watching the time the whole time, but it didn't feel like that. So anyway, yeah, if you're watching this far, you're like seriously insane because usually this is like 55 minutes or something. But thank you very much for listening and watching. Ebook on Amazon. Hopefully hardcover is going to be there soon. Right now, you can get the hardcover on Lulu.com. Follow us at Mason Charles Co. at AaronCo29 on Twitter. I don't know how much I'll be on Twitter in the next however long.
Social media is not going to be my thing for probably a few days or maybe weeks.
Twitter has been hijacked by the election, obviously. So I don't know how much I'll be on there, but just go ahead and preemptively follow me. I can guarantee you won't get annoying politics tweets. So
true.
So the only thing I can guarantee for Twitter right now is you won't be annoyed by me. In the future, I can't guarantee that. But anyway, thank you very much, and peace out.
See ya.